السلام علیکم ناظرین، آپ دیکھ رہے ہیں پروگرامز پر ایڈوائس اور میں ہوں آپ کا ہوسٹ شکیل احمد۔ ناظرین، کووڈ-19 کی جو سچویشن ہے یہ جہاں پہ پاکستان کے اندر یہ ابھی انکریز ہو رہا ہے، نمبرز بڑھ رہے ہیں، لیکن انٹرنیشنلی اور خاص طور پہ وہ ممالک جہاں پہ یہ وبا اپنے پیک کو پہنچی، خاص طور پہ USA کی میں بات کر رہا ہوں، وہاں پر ابھی کووڈ-19 کے جو کیسز ہیں، جو کیجویلٹیز ہیں، جو ایک گراف ہے وہ گرتا ہوا نظر آ رہا ہے۔ وہاں پہ کیسز کم سے ڈیلی بیسس پہ کم سے کم ہوتے نظر آ رہے ہیں۔ تو آج ہم ڈسکس کریں گے کہ کرنٹ USA کے اندر کیا کووڈ-19 کی کیا سچویشن ہے، خاص طور پہ ماساچوسٹس کے اندر۔ اس حوالے سے ہمارے ساتھ آج موجود ہیں مسٹر کریگ اسٹیہارن، جو ریپرزنٹیٹیو ہیں یونیورسٹی آف ماساچوسٹس ایمریسٹ میں، اور ان سے ڈسکس کریں گے کہ کرنٹ سچویشن کا اوور آل انٹرنیشنل ایجوکیشن کے اوپر کیا امپیکٹ ہے، اور خاص طور پہ وہ اسٹوڈنٹ جو ابھی پاکستان سے انٹرنیشنل ایجوکیشن کا سوچ رہے ہیں ان کے لیے کیا وے فارورڈ ہے۔ تو ہمارے ساتھ موجود ہیں کریگ اسٹیہارن فرام USA۔ Kregg, thank you very much that you have joined us from US, and we are much obliged that you have given us a time to give your viewpoint about the current situations and about the study of the students there in US, especially in your university. So we are very thankful that you have joined us.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with you.
That's great. Kregg, before proceeding for the rest of the discussion, we are concerned about the different students' inquiries related to study in US, especially in your university. So before proceeding further, let us know a bit about the current situation with respect to Corona in US, especially in your state, and then overall in the country as well.
Sure. Yep. As you probably know, things are changing very quickly here in the United States, and we currently, my university is called the University of Massachusetts Amherst. It's located in the state of Massachusetts. That's a very famous state. It's in the northeast portion of the United States, very close to Boston and New York City. Both of those cities have had a lot of cases of COVID. We've been very lucky in Amherst, Massachusetts, which is a small college town in the western part of Massachusetts. And although we have less than 1% of the cases in our state in this area. And in the town of Amherst, we have even less than that. So there have been very few cases of COVID in Amherst. So we've been very privileged and very lucky. In the United States as a whole, cases are going down. But as the summer comes along, lots of states are reopening and allowing people out with proper social distancing, masks, etc., hoping that business gets back to usual.
Kregg, here I will definitely ask about the overall situation in US. As you have mentioned, please compare the situation, the current one, with the situation that US was observing a month back. I mean, I'm sure there were different positive activities has been started. People are resuming their jobs. Things are coming back to normalcy. So little bit elaborate about the current situation comparing with the situation that you were observing a month before.
Sure. Well, about a month ago in the US, I would say that the corona situation was at its highest. There was still lots of panic. Most states were on lockdown, including in Massachusetts, where citizens were asked to stay home. Most businesses were either shut or being run remotely. The university was being run almost completely remotely, except for essential workers. And since that time, within the last month, things have eased. Cases have flattened out, and we see businesses now opening. Schools and universities are being very careful to open in a very cautious way, to have a slow relaunch, as we say, to getting back to normal, because we want to make sure that not only that the students are safe, but that the staff and faculty are safe as well. So things are improving They're improving slowly here in the United States, but they are improving.
Agree. So this is something really a good news for especially not the people of US but for the whole world, that things are coming back to normal in most of the countries, especially in US, as we can see the graph that is just going down of the different cases that are happening there in US. Moving ahead, I would definitely ask, what are the different facilities in the current situation being provided to international students, and especially the students who are studying there in your university but they belong to Pakistan? So what are the different facilities that your university is offering them in the current hard situation?
Well, right now we are really trying to have a slow relaunch of the university. So we want to make sure that we educate the campus and the community fully, that we're enacting all of the safety measures that the government is laying out for us. That includes the sanitization of spaces on campus, teaching spaces, living spaces, working spaces, and ensuring that we are the safest possible. So part one of the relaunch will be repopulating research labs and allied health services on campus, essential businesses on campus. We are a research university. What this means for most students is that they're going to have remote work as often as possible. We realize that in research situations, you can't do laboratory work or a lot of laboratory work online or remotely. So we are very slowly walking that back in. Trying to be as cautious as possible. But for international students, but also for domestic students, they will be doing a lot of work remotely. This will be official work. This will be UMass Amherst work. The grades will be assigned from UMass Amherst, but we will be trying our best to relaunch very slowly and very cautiously. The big worry here is that there will be a plateau in COVID-19 around the world, obviously in the United States, during the summer months. But that when the flu season picks up again, October, November, December of 2020 and into 21, that there will be again an increase in cases of the flu around the world. Without any vaccine right now for COVID-19, this is a big worry for public health officials, and especially at a big university deciding, well, if we bring students back in, won't we just have to send them home again? So we're trying to be as cautious as possible. With that said, all of our incoming students right now are participating in an online orientation where they're meeting their academic advisors, they're meeting professors, they're meeting people on campus online to talk to them about the university and about what's happening with our next step.
That's really great that, as you have mentioned, the things are coming back again for the good situation there. Elaborate a bit about the different safety measures that are being taken by the US government to just make this graph decline. What were the different safety measures that were being taken into considerations by government and the citizens as well, resulting into decreasing the graph for the different casualties, or you can say the number of cases?
Well, I think first and foremost, the states enacted a good plan of social distancing and a stay-at-home order, and also measures of sanitizing, like washing hands, wearing a mask, etc. And so when those things are adhered to by a big population, they work quite well. I'm not a public health expert. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a psychologist. But I can tell you that being part of a research university has been very helpful, because we've had our own staff and faculty on the case, making, being able to follow the coronavirus up to date, having faculty that are working on not only designing safety measures, but also researching the possibility of vaccines and how it affects and how the virus spreads. So we have very up-to-date information being a research university.
That's great. Kregg, let us know about our audience related to the different programs that your university is offering and a little bit about your university as well. So because our audience and especially the youth, they really want to know about this. So let us know about university and the programs.
Sure. Well, University of Massachusetts Amherst is a top 25 public school in the United States. We offer over 100 different majors, but we are a research university, meaning that we put the study of research first and foremost. It means that it's compulsory that our faculty are conducting research, and it also means that we treat research at the highest level. That we give PhD level down in almost all subjects. And I would say that our most popular subjects tend to be the most popular subjects currently worldwide. Computer science, lots of engineering, lots of disciplines of business, but we also have lots of courses throughout the laboratory sciences, through the humanities and fine arts, and the social sciences.
That's great. I mean, if we could talk that all the different programs that are being offered there at your university. So if any students name any programs, so you would be providing that. So that's a one-stop solution for different students with respect to their program choice. And what about the eligibility criteria? Tell us in general the eligibility criteria for undergraduate and the postgraduate programs, especially for the students who want to apply here from Pakistan for your university.
Well, speaking about undergraduate programs is quite easy. That's the area that I work in, and eligibility for all undergraduate programs tends to be the same. We are an SAT or SAT compulsory university. You have to take the SAT or the ACT, and that plus your high school grades and using the common application is all that is necessary. We only require one essay, and we do what's called a holistic review. We certainly take into consideration SAT score and the high school GPA, but we're really looking at a whole vision of the student. What has she or he been up to in high school and in their life? What do their teachers say about them? Maybe what their high school principal or people in the community say about them. We are really looking for well-rounded students who want to be, for lack of a better phrase, global citizens. These are young Pakistanis that want to come to the United States to get a very good education, to make a lot of connections, to learn about a lot about the American culture, and then hopefully when they return to Pakistan, be a very well-rounded global citizen. For postgraduate, it's kind of difficult to talk about because it's very course specific. So the qualifications.
Yeah, that I really understand. For postgrad, it's different with respect to the different programs. Moving ahead, the Pakistani students are the sharp-minded students, very intelligent one as well. Here, what are the different scholarships for Pakistani students, or especially the students who want to go for undergraduate or the different postgraduate programs? So what are the scholarship availability for the students, please?
Sure. So I can only speak to undergraduate programs at this point for scholarships, but we offer merit scholarships or chancellor awards to almost all students who apply. What that means is that based upon the SAT score and the GPA, we do a little math computation, and we offer all the way from $16,000 US down to $10,000 US per year. That's guaranteed money for 4 years of study in the United States. It's a very nice deal. We are very interested in students from Pakistan. Obviously, we have a lot of international students. The most come from the largest countries like China and India, but shortly thereafter is our group of Pakistani students. When I visited Pakistan earlier this year, it was very nice to not only visit schools where we have a lot of applicants, but to meet a lot of different students from Pakistan, to be able to tell them about all the opportunities at UMass Amherst, and that we have a very vibrant Pakistani community. They can feel at home here by finding food. If they have halal needs, we have halal food. We even have a cricket club. We have all kinds of things that that are very interesting for Pakistani students, but we are looking for students that really want to come to be part of a global citizenship.
That's really great, and this is very interesting for Pakistani students that they can get the different scholarship as you have mentioned about. And here, Kregg, keeping in view the current situation, students from Pakistan, and not only from Pakistan but from whole world, they are confused and worried about their coming semester because they're confused. Either the university will start in campus, in-person classes on campus or not, or they're even confused about the admission cycle. They're thinking it may be possible that admission cycle has been disturbed. So these are the two questions. Let us know about the admission cycle. Has it got affected, or and alongside the next question is will student be able to study in person in coming September intake in your university?
Good question. Thanks. We're worried as well. And so it's just, I want to assure Pakistani students that they're not alone. Our domestic students, our American students, our students from Massachusetts are worried about the next step. And so this is a worldwide issue, and you're not alone, and we're with you. The admission cycle has not been disrupted. This has been our believe it or not, this has been our most successful year for international students. We have more international students ready to come to the university this fall than in the history of the university. And so that includes students from all over the world. And our admission cycle for the next year, we do not anticipate it being disrupted as well. And so we are going to be admitting students for fall 2021 starting in November of 2020. And so please do not hesitate to keep applying. In terms of what's going to happen this fall, I can't tell you for sure. What I can tell you is that I don't see any way possible that the university will be open to 100% capacity. I don't think any university will. And if they're saying they are right now, I just don't know how they could possibly know that. So international students have two issues. One, how open will the university be? But two, will they be able to get a visa in time to enter the university? And so I think what international students can anticipate is that they will begin the fall remotely. And this will happen for most domestic students as well. I want to say a little bit about that as a former academic and as somebody who has taught online as well. This mode of instruction certainly does not diminish the quality of education. And this will be hopefully a mere blip on the radar of their education. Hopefully this will be one semester. So what we're hoping is that we could be open and welcome a bunch of students for the fall, but it's possible that a student outside the U.S. just will not be able to get the visa to get here on time. So that means that they would be doing work online, either part-time or full-time. The scholarship would still apply to them. They can begin their academic studies with UMass Amherst that way, and hopefully then get to campus for January 2021. This is going to be the case, remember, for lots of domestic students too. There are going to be students in the U.S. or even in Massachusetts that are going to begin their academic career remotely, and they're going to take online classes with real professors. These are real classes with real grades, and then
Kregg, I can completely understand, and the students from all over the world, they can understand that there is not 100% guarantee to just resume the classes in person in coming intake. But as for now, the signs are the situation that we can see. We are very much optimistic the students would enjoy in-person classes in coming September intake, as the situation is getting better there in all over the world, importantly in US and the other European, or you can say that.
And I do think that students should move forward right now. Admitted students should move forward right now with UMass Amherst and other universities to pursue their I-20 document and try to make an appointment at their consular office to get a visa. They should certainly move forward with that because as I said before, I don't really know what's going to happen. Clearly, the universities are going slow. Obviously, I'm still working from home. You can see my closet over my shoulder, but that we are moving forward as safely and securely as possible.
That's great. Kregg, what you have to say about why one need to study or why one need to choose your university? So what are the different reasons? Just tell us 3-4 for our audience, because they just want to know why they have to choose it for.
Sure. I don't think rankings are the best way to choose a university. It's often a very popular way to university. But we happen to be lucky and be privileged enough to have very good rankings. This is a very top-rated research university in the world and in the United States. So UMass Amherst is a research university, and I think studying at a large public research university is very advantageous for students because of the breadth of knowledge. You will be studying with people that are writing the books that you're reading and learning in class and the papers. The ability to be involved in research no matter what your discipline is. You will learn about research. And why that's important is because we treat it almost like a foreign language. You don't have to do research, but you have to learn about it. And this is more important in the world than ever. We want you to be able to read a research document, to write about it, to tweet about it, to be able to truly understand research so that you as an alumni can be in a meeting and say, well, hang on, I disagree. Research says this, right? So that's a goal. Another reason to come to this university is truly the breadth of study. You can come here and combine disciplines. So let's say that you really want to study computer science, but you also in your heart know that you want to study a little bit about psychology or a little bit about art. This is a very well-rounded education. And I also think that when you're coming to the U.S., it's a big expenditure. It's a big deal for your family to be able to come here. So learning about the culture of the U.S. and participating in the culture is super important. But also things like we have over 25 accelerated master's degrees. Now, you can't apply to accelerated master's program as an undergraduate until you're already an undergraduate. But thinking about your return on investment, that coming to a large public research university, possibly having 2 majors or 2 disciplines that you're studying, and ultimately possibly even getting a master's degree in your 5th year here, and then doing an internship and having folks on campus that are backing you and mentoring you, that is an excellent return on investment. And that's the type of thing that you can do at a large, highly ranked public research university like
All right,
Kregg,
very pertinent questions with respect to students' thought. So what are the different options for Pakistani students, especially who go from our country to study there at your campus? So what are the different options for them to get hands-on experience? What are the work options for students who want to continue during their study there?
Mm-hmm. So obviously there's 2 different kinds of work options. Students can work on campus while they're here on an F1 visa. They can work up to 20 hours per week while school's in session. I know many international students that do that. These are not considered skilled jobs sometimes. They're working in the library, working in the dining commons, but they're a very good way to also supplement income when you're a student. Lots of American students have jobs on campus when they're here. But I think that what you're really talking about is what's the return on investment of coming to the U.S., getting a bachelor's degree, and then getting an internship or a co-op and trying to get work experience while you're here. So an internship experience is really important, especially for international students. And I recommend that all international students, I recommend all Pakistanis on their way in have a goal of doing 2 internships. I want them to do an internship here in the U.S. because that's one of the reasons to come to the U.S. But I also want them to think about the possibility of doing an internship back in Pakistan too, because research shows that once international students graduate, within 3 years, they're back within 100 miles of someplace that they call home. And so we help our students line up internships all the time. We have an internship center on campus. And so an internship isn't compulsory, but I'd like you to think of it as such because it is truly how you get work experience when you're here in the U.S. And that can lead to something.
That's great, Kregg, that's great. Let us know about, because SAT or IELTS, TOEFL, they are the mandatory path for the admissions. So, if somebody wants to apply for undergraduate program, So do they have to present a good SAT or IELTS or TOEFL as their English proficiency test for the admissions?
Yes, we have an English proficiency requirement. There are several ways to pass the requirement. If you've been in, obviously, if you're a native speaker of English, you don't have to. If you've grown up speaking English, if you've gone to all 4 years of secondary, high school in a predominantly English-speaking curriculum, you do not require a TOEFL or IELTS. Our minimum score on the TOEFL is an 80. That's pretty much an industry standard. IELTS at 6.5. And so if you get higher than that, that doesn't necessarily help you. All we're looking for is a minimum score to kind of pass you on it. We also work with an interview company in the world called Initial View. And Initial View is based out of China, but will interview any student anywhere in the world online. It is an impromptu interview, a lot like what we're doing right here. They send us it directly. And that also we will take in lieu of the TOEFL or the IELTS as well. But most Pakistani students, if they haven't grown up speaking English, they've studied enough English in high school that the English proficiency requirement is typically not that big of a deal coming from Pakistan.
Yeah. And what about SAT? SAT, is that SAT and GRE, are these two tests mandatory for the admissions?
They are. So SAT is mandatory, or the ACT for undergraduate, and the GRE is mandatory for all graduate programs as well. There are no minimum scores. They give averages. I can only speak to the undergraduate. Our average SAT score is in the high 1200s, so somewhere between 1290 and 1310 is the 50th percentile. That makes you a very good candidate for all of our programs, but again, that's an average. We admit students that are below that average and above that average.
All right. Kregg, you know, the current situation, the COVID-19 has disturbed the whole world, and the things are not in the way that we were observing 3-4 months back. So keeping in view the situation, so do you think this will really impact international student visa acceptance ratio or not?
I do think it will impact student visas for this fall. I think that even if things clear up and there's an all clear given by the United States and international students are welcome back, that there's just going to be a backlog in U.S. consulates around the world, and that it might be very difficult for students to get their visa in a timely manner. I don't think that that's an emergency. I think that that this, again, as I said earlier, that this could be a very small blip of time in a student's academic career, that this might be one semester that they cannot be here. But I would fully expect them to then be able to get the visa to come in the future. I don't want Pakistani students to give up hope. We very much want to engage with our students and to make them feel like they're part of the university from afar. And that these are things that are happening to our domestic students as well. That there are many, many ways to engage in a very professional level online with the university to feel like you're part of the university.
That's really great because the whole world is optimistic for the better situation in future, and similarly the students from Pakistan too. As you have mentioned that you don't think so the current situation will impact on the visa acceptance ratio by the US. That will be normal as it was previously. In the end, Kregg, if you have any message for Pakistani youth and the students, please go ahead with.
Pakistan, we've been very lucky over the last 10 years to really grow our international community, and Pakistan has been a big part of that strategy. We think the world of Pakistan and the students from Pakistan. As I mentioned, I visited earlier in 2020 to see Pakistan firsthand and to make visits all around the country. It was very gracious. I was welcomed with open arms in Pakistan, which felt very nice because I feel like we do the same here at UMass Amherst. As I mentioned before, this is a very welcoming place for Pakistanis. We have the ability to welcome you on all fronts. If you have faith needs, we can help you with that. If you have halal needs, we can meet you with that. But what I would like to say is don't give up hope yet. The situation here in the United States is improving, and we are hoping that all students are able to connect with us. And if you're interested in coming to UMass Amherst, if you've been admitted or you're just interested in the future, I would like you to contact me because I'd like to put you in contact with some of our Pakistani students. I can tell you many things about the U.S. and about UMass Amherst, but I'm an older white male who has a certain view on the world, and my experience could be different than yours. And so I'd love for you to speak to one of our Pakistani students so that they can tell you what it was like to be a Pakistani woman who has moved from Islamabad to Amherst, what it was like for her maybe as a Muslim woman, or maybe what it was like for her to join computer science program. And that, I think, would be more helpful to you as a student if you get serious about coming to UMass Amherst.
That's great. And Kregg, thank you very much that you have discussed many things about the situation that's going on there in US, especially at Massachusetts, and alongside that you have given a brief or a thorough information about studying at University of Massachusetts Amherst for Pakistani students, especially who are watching us. We are thankful once again. You have to take care of yourself and your family, and especially university has to take care of the students who have been from Pakistan through study there, or they are enrolled at your campus currently. We are thankful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thanks very much. It was my pleasure being here.
Thanks a lot. नाज़रीन, आपने प्रोग्राम देखा जिसमें क्रैग का कहना था कि स्टूडेंट्स के जो भी प्लान्स हैं फ्यूचर में हायर एजुकेशन के लिए, especially for coming September intake, so they must be stick to it, and this is the right time to apply for international universities, because इस situation में जहाँ पर universities हमारी close हैं, different institutions close हैं, so application this is the right time to apply for international universities, because इस situation में acceptance chances universities के अंदर comparing with normal times they are greater. जैसा कि क्रैग ने बताया भी कि इस दफ़ा यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मैसाचुसेट्स एमरेस्ट में हिस्ट्री में इतने ज़्यादा इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स ने अप्लाई नहीं किया जितना कि इस करंट सिचुएशन में किया गया. तो आप भी अपने प्लान्स को कंटिन्यू रखिए, ऑप्टिमिस्टिक रहें, अपना और अपने प्यारों का ख्याल रखें. हाजिर होंगे एक नए एक्सपर्ट एडवाइस के साथ. तब तक के लिए इजाज़त दीजिए. अल्लाह हामियना.